Welcome to part 2 of our two-part program, Her Majesty Queen Cleopatra VII Philopator, the life of the powerful Egyptian pharaoh. One of the most recognizable figures in human history, Her Majesty Queen Cleopatra has become a symbol of charm and beauty. However, her true legacy lies in her exceptional abilities as a savvy and tactful politician, as well as a skilled diplomat and negotiator. Genius, courage, and originality ran in her blood. In 44 BC, Queen Cleopatra returned to Alexandria, Egypt, after her visit to Rome came to an abrupt end with the untimely passing of her ally and lover, Roman general and statesman Julius Caesar. Subsequently, Julius Caesar's right-hand man Mark Antony, grandnephew Octavian, and friend Lepidus joined forces in pursuit of those responsible for his death. They asked for Egypt's support, which Her Majesty Queen Cleopatra gave. By 42 BC, much of the power in Rome was divided between Mark Antony in the east and Octavian in the west. Mark Antony summoned Queen Cleopatra, supposedly to discuss the aftermath of Julius Caesar's death. They met at his headquarters in the now-famed city of Tarsus in the Roman province of Cilicia. By this time, Her Majesty Queen Cleopatra strongly identified herself with Great Mother Isis, one of the most important goddesses of ancient Egypt, who presided over the afterlife, life cycles, motherhood, healing, and magic. It is recounted that Queen Cleopatra sailed up the Cydnus River in her elaborate golden barge, adorned with purple sails and silver oars. Sitting beneath a glittering canopy, she was dressed as the goddess Isis, with attendants playing the flute and sweet-smelling incense burning. She reportedly hosted Mark Antony and his officers to lavish banquets on board her magnificent newly built ship to solidify their alliance. Mark Antony, who associated himself with the Greek deity Dionysus, god of vegetation, fertility, and festivity, was won over by the charming and charismatic queen. After their meeting, Mark Antony resolved to protect Queen Cleopatra's crown and kingdom. He made arrangements for the removal of her younger sister, Arsinoe IV, who had attempted to usurp Queen Cleopatra's throne. Satisfied, Queen Cleopatra returned to Egypt. Shortly after her arrival, Mark Antony joined Queen Cleopatra in Egypt, where art, culture, and learning was booming under Her Majesty's leadership. It is said that the pair spent the 41 to 40 BC winter in Alexandria, living a life of abundance and enjoying the theatrics. One of their favorite activities was reportedly wandering the streets of the city in disguise. In 40 BC, Queen Cleopatra then gave birth to twins, whom she named Alexander Helios, meaning sun, after Alexander the Great, and Cleopatra Selene, meaning moon. Meanwhile, Mark Antony was forced to marry Octavian's sister, Octavia Minor, and to prove his loyalty to Octavian, he did not see Queen Cleopatra for the next 3 years. Egypt had grown more prosperous under Queen Cleopatra's reign. She had put all her knowledge to good use and restored the kingdom of Egypt to its most glorious days, and more. Her Majesty, Queen Cleopatra, had become the richest woman in the world, and likely the richest person in her time. Though her native language was Koine Greek, she spoke as many as a dozen languages, including those of her annexed states. She was the first member of the Ptolemaic rulers to learn the Egyptian language, and she also embraced many of her country's ancient customs, all of which made her a popular ruler. Mark Antony summoned Queen Cleopatra to Antioch, Syria in 37 BC, where he allegedly saw his twins for the first time. He sought the queen's financial support against the kingdom of Parthia and in exchange granted Queen Cleopatra much of Ptolemaic Egypt's eastern empire, including Cyprus, Crete, Cyrenaica or Libya, and large portions of Syria and Lebanon. In 36 BC, Queen Cleopatra accompanied Mark Antony as far as the city of Zeugma and his way to Parthia. She then returned to Egypt and gave birth to their second son, Ptolemy Philadelphus. In 34 BC, Mark Antony and Queen Cleopatra celebrated the donations of Alexandria. The royal couple were seated on golden thrones on a silver platform, with their children sitting on lower thrones beside them. Mark Antony declared Caesarion as Julius Caesar's son and rightful heir in place of Octavian. He also awarded land to each of his children with Queen Cleopatra. Mark Antony and Queen Cleopatra are also thought to have been wed during this ceremony. When the couple traveled to Athens, Greece, in 32 BC, the queen asked Mark Antony to officially divorce Octavian's sister, Octavia Minor. Octavian was furious and revealed Mark Antony's will to the Roman people, in which it was stipulated that he would bestow his Roman possession onto Queen Cleopatra, a foreign woman, and asked to be buried beside her in Egypt. A rumor also spread to the effect that Mark Antony would abandon Rome and transfer the capital of the Roman Republic to Alexandria. Octavian pursued the pair, and in 30 BC he invaded Egypt and fought them in Alexandria. It is said that Queen Cleopatra retired to a mausoleum, while Mark Antony went out to fight what was to be his last battle. He was mortally wounded, and in a final mark of total devotion he had himself carried to Queen Cleopatra's retreat, where he died in her arms, begging her to end the feud with Octavian. On that day, August 1st, 30 BC, Octavian defeated Queen Cleopatra and Mark Antony's forces in Alexandria and captured the queen, and Egypt fell under Roman control. Soon after, Queen Cleopatra passed away. It was August 10th, 30 BC, and she was only 39 years old. According to her wishes, Her Majesty Queen Cleopatra's body was buried alongside Mark Antony's. She had been Queen of Egypt for 22 years and Mark Antony's partner for 11 years. More than 2,000 years after her death, Queen Cleopatra's legacy lives on in both ancient art forms such as busts, statues, paintings, coinage, and reliefs, and in modern art plays, novels, operas, ballets, films, and iconic imagery. Queen Cleopatra VII's life inspired Shakespeare, and more recently in 1963, a Hollywood movie called Cleopatra starred the legendary Elizabeth Taylor. It was believed to be the most expensive movie ever made at that time. However, the depiction of the Queen of the Nile as a woman of exotic beauty who uses seduction to bend powerful men to her will was one largely conveyed by Roman men to found their claims about Mark Antony's anti-Roman behavior. Plutarch, an ancient Greek biographer, wrote what is considered the most detailed surviving account of Queen Cleopatra's life. He claimed that it was her melodious voice and irresistible charm that made her so well liked. A reconstruction of her head has been computerized from ancient Egyptian coins. She wore her hair melon style and tied in a low bun with a diadem around her head, a cloth symbol of royalty, attesting to the fact that she was much more interested in being a good ruler than a beauty icon. Arab historian al-Masudi described her as a sage and a philosopher who elevated the ranks of scholars and enjoyed their company. In the book Egyptology, The Missing Millennium, Ancient Egypt in Medieval Arabic Writings, historian Dr. Okasha El-Dali presents evidence from studies of a neglected 1,000-year period of Arab scholarship, showing they often referred to Cleopatra as a virtuous scholar, and cited scientific books written by her as the authoritative works in their field. Dr. El-Dali wrote,
"One remarkable omission from all the medieval Arabic sources that I have studied is any reference to Cleopatra's seductive physical beauty. The most interesting aspect of her image is that of a scholar who made significant contributions in the fields of alchemy, medicine, and mathematics. She is shown conducting courtly seminars attended by scientists from different fields, at which she contributed to the discussions as a polymathic scientist."
One testimony mentioned that in Queen Cleopatra's daily life, she was always thinking, "How can I make people's lives better? How can I complete the mission that God entrusted me with?" Indeed, Queen Cleopatra benevolently cared for the people and led her kingdom with considerable intelligence, strategic skills, and foresight. To this day, Her Majesty's immensely noble character, power, and grace as Queen of Egypt continues to win the hearts of many.
Vegan, 'cause why be ordinary?
Elegant viewers, thank you for your gracious presence today.